Sup, people? Today is the 24th, I think. No, it's the 23rd. I'm a liar. Which means that it's almost my 7 month anniversary of starting this lovely process. Also, I do apologize for the lighting. I am unfortunately not in a room that has great lighting, and that's just kind of the way things are right now. Things are going pretty well, by and large. So I really feel like one of the major aspects that I've been focusing on a lot lately is my voice, because it does seem to me that it is changing pretty dramatically. Oddly enough, like it hasn't really like cracked at all. It's not that kind of, it's not dramatic in that way. Um, I feel it more in my chest, like without really trying to push it down into my chest. I went to karaoke with a good friend of mine just yesterday, and I found that a lot of the songs that I used to love to sing at karaoke, I just can't do anymore because my range isn't there. So that was kind of a huge wake up moment for me. Also, my cat is being super cute back here. This is Rose Quartz and her sister Pearl. Pearl lives for Rose Quartz. They're being super distracting and cute. Yes, hello. But yeah, so my voice has changed pretty dramatically, and I think if I try, I can kind of push my speaking range back up to where it used to be, but where it normally sits nowadays is clearly feels lower for me. And I guess like the other component is that I had to go up on my T dose because as I've mentioned from the beginning, I'm doing low dose T. Unfortunately, this was really fucking with my menstrual cycle and giving me some highly unpleasant side effects, like just really the worst PMS that you can imagine. Not like the mood swings and stuff, but like severe hot flashes. I had back pain so severe and muscle cramping so intense that I was pretty sure it was sciatica. Then my cycle came and the pain went away. And so I'd gotten my T levels tested and they were just slightly below the range of a cis guy. I've heard variously that your serum T levels don't really mean a lot, but in this case, it was clear that something not so great was happening for me. I went to my doctor. I was like, hey, listen. And so we have tried to mitigate this by upping my dose. So back to my voice, though, what this means is that I anticipate a faster or more dramatic change as a result. I haven't really heard anything from the people around me. My voice dropping has been pretty gradual over the past several months. I really wouldn't say that it began to be noticeable. I mean, from the outset, like from my very first video, I'm pretty sure I said this, that it wouldn't be noticeable until about 3 months in. But really, I don't think before then there's any change worthy of note at all. But I will say, like, I like the way my voice feels. I have been kind of taken aback by the changes to like my singing and stuff. Only because like it's funny, like I used to kind of try to sing in a lower register for like some of the songs that I was listening to. Once I started to try and sing in the registers of songs that I used to do, and I could not anymore, it occurred to me that I just don't know that I have a lot of songs kind of in my mental file that I reach for a lot that are in my new register. And that was kind of, I don't want to use the word off-putting, but really it kind of was because I've never been one of those people whose dysphoria was characterized by like having dreams where I spoke in a lower voice or whatever. It was the first time that I confronted the question of how much lower is my voice going to go, and if it really passes out of that kind of androgynous register, how much dysphoria am I going to feel? But so far, that doesn't really seem to be an issue. Some people that I've heard of online have actually said that once they stop tea, their voices kind of raised a little bit. I don't anticipate this being a thing. I didn't enter into transition envisioning that that would be something I dealt with. I signed up for this with the idea in mind that this would be permanent. I have no idea what's going to happen, and really, that's kind of the fun. But that is by far, I would say, one of the biggest things that has been on my mind. Another thing that's been on my mind is top surgery, and I mentioned this a couple weeks ago when I made a video. It dawned on me that after I get top surgery, I'll still be able to wear a bra, and in fact, I might fit better into the range of bra sizes that popular society has decided are standard. So your standard catalog of sizes kind of starts at a 32, like B maybe, and it goes up to probably like a 36D or a 38C. That's like your standard range that if you go to like Ross or whatever, they'll have that. Or if you go to like Target, that's the size range most of their stuff caters to. And so I had a lot of fears and like uncertainties around top that I'm still sort of working through. Because through all of this, like, obviously, I've said it before and I will keep saying it, I've never identified as a man. And so I don't really desire to transition into a man. You know, my gender is fluid and it fluctuates in intensity. And so it's been important to me that I be able to reach for that femininity when I want it. And so for that reason, like when I entered into this, I wasn't really interested in top surgery at all. I figured that it was fine to just keep binding. But I have to go back to the fact that one of my earliest experiences of what I now know to be dysphoria was not being able to go around without a shirt anymore when my estrogen puberty started. And being really confused and sad because it seemed like I was just being put upon with these extra layers of clothes and I didn't understand. So when I realized that I could still reach for that femininity and wear a bra, because, you know, if I'm a 32 around my rib cage, then a 1 inch difference, which I could achieve by working out, would still enable me to fill out a bra, while also still having that more masculine kind of shape. That was sort of more calming to that question of, is it going to give me dysphoria that I didn't previously have? There are still some things that I'm pondering and working through, and some of these you can't possibly know until you go through the surgery. Just like with engaging in hormonal transition, where I have had certain effects much more prominently than others. Primarily, my concern now with top is, other than cost, because, you know, that's always going to be a thing, is loss of sensation. That's something I would really have to talk to a doctor about, and there's no way to know for sure except to go down that rabbit hole. So we'll see. But other than that, I've had some other pretty exciting changes that have just started. Actually, this one's kind of funny. So I've started to notice some little like patchy kind of just hair follicles getting more active around here. I'm not ever having like substantial facial hair growth, although I have to shave sometimes now. So that's fun. But I have this mole that's right here that you can just barely see, and whereas the rest of my face is kind of very gradually figuring out what it's doing with itself. This mole has always had some small hairs that grew out of it, but those got very long all of a sudden. And so I actually had to shave my mole earlier, just on my mole, nowhere else. And that was kind of a weird experience. I'm still getting acne, which is frustrating because it's, again, more of those pimples that are just really deep. I'm one of those people who's really sensitive to texture, and so, like, if I'm touching my face or, like, I see a bump in the mirror and then I'm, like, touching it and I can't ignore the fact that it's there anymore, like, my instinct is to pick at it, and unfortunately, like, these aren't the types of pimples that are really conducive to picking. Like, don't pick at your face anyway, really, but these are very stubborn, and I have a couple like here that have been around for literally probably a month now or longer, and it's just aggravating. But I'm trying some things. I started using an alpha hydroxy acid sort of a toner on my face, and my partner says that that's helped sort of the brightness of my face. I'm hoping that by combining that with a really mild beta hydroxy acid so like a salicylic acid, that these motherfuckers will finally go away and I can go back to living my relatively acne-free life. I do notice that my diet much more readily impacts what happens on my face, though. I typically eat a fairly low-carb diet, but if I am eating a lot more quantitatively of like starchy foods and stuff, the acne just is vicious and swift. And it really sucks. Diet has always been something that I kind of struggled with, both on an emotional level as well as what my body actually physically likes. And maybe that's a topic for another video, but the long and short of it is my body is very sensitive to sugar, and that includes some starchy foods. And it's to such a degree that I'm not even always sure that it's worth it to do any kind of experimentation like, does rice give me the same effect as like bleached flour? Or I'm pretty positive it's not a gluten thing because tons of things that fit in with my low carb diet have gluten added to them for texture, and those don't seem to bother me that much. My diet affects anything from my skin, which obviously I've been talking about, to migraines, which run in my family and are debilitating and awful and can be triggered by tension headaches, which I get very predictably with sugar intake. So if I'm eating starches and stuff and I'm not paying good attention to what I'm putting in my body, I can get like more than, I would say, a week's worth of tension headaches in a month, which really sucks. These are the kind that like are accompanied with like nausea and just all over head pain. And it really sucks. One of my migraine triggers being a tension headache, that means that I can get migraines sometimes as much as several days in a row. I gave blood for the first time last June, and basically, it didn't occur to me to eat an actual food meal before giving blood because I don't typically eat in a way that impacts my blood sugar very much. But the people there would not actually take my blood until they like watched me eat a cookie. And that entire weekend that followed that was just migraine after migraine. So I am really sensitive and has had some impact with what's happened as a result of injecting tea. But yeah, so those things, I guess, like my voice and just hair, really have been my most major changes, I think, over the course of the last month or so. But if I think of more, of course, I'll make an update. And I know that I still need to do a video about my name as well as a video about dysphoria. So hopefully those will come soon once I can sort of gather my chickens to form a coherent video about them. As always, let me know if you have any questions. I think the people who subscribe to my channel at this point are also like friends with me on social media, so you can feel free to reach out to me there if there are specific things you want me to talk about. But take care, friends, and stay well. See ya.